to our community meeting. This is the community meeting for Site 89E SW4, which is an elementary school that's set to be opened in 2022. This is the 30% design meeting, which means we're at the beginning of the design process. My name is Lauren Roth. I work for facilities in the communications department. The presentation you're about to see has been posted on the facilities website for OCPS, and it's also been posted on board member Pam Gould's webpage. She is here, I'm just going to go over a couple things about how this all works in case you haven't been on one of these before. Dave, if you don't mind just advancing one slide. Okay. So attendees are automatically muted with cameras off. The video icons that you can see are panelists who are available to answer any questions that may come up today. Please use the Q&A tool to ask questions. I'll be reading the questions aloud after the presentation ends, and similar questions may be combined. So Pam, Board Member Gould, would you like to welcome everybody, and then I'll introduce the people on our panel.
Fantastic. Thank you, Lauren. As always, this is an exciting time when we're planning new schools, which seems so weird in this COVID timeline that we're in. But we know that our cases are reducing and that students are coming back to school, and we will once again need all of the spaces that we are building. So I will turn it back to the team to go over this new school's plan. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pam. Dave, if you don't mind advancing. So let me just, I'm going to explain a couple of people who are here who can answer some questions, and then I'm going to show a slide about the zoning. Because I know people often have questions about that. So here to answer questions today are myself, Lauren Roth, Board Member Pam Gould, who you just heard from, Executive Area Director Margaret Talbert Irving. We have the principals of at least two of the schools that might feed into this school. Lee Montgomery is here from Whispering Oak. Barry Donaldson is here from Keene's Crossing, and I think we're also expecting Amy Klaber from Water Spring. The architect for this new school project is Schenkel Schultz, and here from Schenkel Schultz today is Dave Torbert and Lynn Lefebvre. The civil engineer for this project is Klima Weeks, and Jay Klima is here. The construction manager is Wellbro, and Jeff Carter is here. So from the OCPS side, we have a project manager, and that person is the one who works with both the school district and the architect and the construction manager. And so we have Maher Chatila in that position, and he's on tonight. We also have Jessma Lambert. She's the facilities director for construction planning. Mo Arthur, who's our design manager. Stephen Thorpe from planning. Richard Kirkham is here from fire, health, and safety. And I believe that Diana Almodovar from Orange County was going to try to make it on. Oh, and it looks like Jamie Alberti is here too. Commander Alberti is the police commander for this part of town. And I did also want to mention that Kim Hawkins from School Board Services is also on the call. If anyone else hops on during the call, I will introduce them at the end. So with that, I'm going to hand things over to Dave. Oh, wait, before I hand things over to Dave, that's right, we've got the zoning slide, if you don't mind showing that one, Dave. Okay, so here's how the rezoning process works. This is the timeline of how these things are done. So the first part that you'll probably be interested in will be the first community meeting. And that will happen in spring of 2021. You might wonder why we're here today so far in advance. And that's because it takes about a year to design a school. And schools don't get zoned until closer to the time before they open, because we want the zoning to be as up to date with all the new developments as possible. So we will not be discussing any specific zone for this school today. This is really all we have on the rezoning at this point. The purpose of today's meeting is for you to actually see where the school is going to be situated and what the floor plan looks like, and so you can ask any questions of us. So Dave, you can take it from here.
Okay, thank you, Lauren. So before we get into looking at the specific school site or the specifics of the new school, we like to always kind of give a little bit of an idea of the overview of the surrounding context, just to kind of give you an idea of where the new school will be located. So on this large aerial map that you see on this screen, you can see highlighted in blue several of the schools in the area that are already existing. You see Whispering Oaks Elementary School, Kings Crossing, Independence Elementary School, and Water Springs. And then highlighted in red are some of the schools that are moving in through the design and construction process currently. And so you've got the two middle schools, the 132 and the 65, that are 65 being located right there down next to Water Springs. And then right adjacent to the other middle school, the 132 middle school site that you see there, is the Site 89 elementary school that we're here to talk about tonight. So that kind of gives you sort of an overall view. And yeah, the map isn't lying. These schools are right there next to the Lake County, Orange County line. So it's literally some of the westernmost schools in the district that are being constructed. A little closer in view of kind of the same information to give you a little closer in view. You can see State Road 429 there to the right of the Site 89 and the Site 132 sites in red. You can see just on the other side of that is Independence Elementary School and Kings Crossing Elementary School. So hopefully that gives you kind of a global view, or a little closer in global view of where the site is located. So if we zoom in yet one more level, here you can see the two sites side by side, highlighted in red. They're bordered on the western side by a street that's currently called Street B, and on the south by a street that's called Street A that will come right off of Avalon Road, as you see indicated there. The reason they're called Street A and B is that's not necessarily going to be the final name, but those roads are currently in the design and construction stage as well, and they haven't been formally named yet. But specific to the project we're talking about here, it's highlighted there. The site for it is highlighted there on the screen by the solid red line on the far western side, left-hand side of the overall piece of property that the school district owns. The area highlighted or dashed with dashed red line is where the middle school that is literally on the same adjacent piece of property is located. So on the next slide here, we get down a little bit more specific about the school site. And so again, on the right-hand side, you see kind of highlighted in yellow there is the proposed new middle school that is moving through and almost at the completion of design, and will be moving into construction very soon here as well. And then on the left-hand side, the westernmost side, is the new elementary school, Site 89 elementary school site that we're here to talk about tonight. So you can see highlighted with kind of the pink color there is the footprint of the two-story elementary school. In front of that to the south is the main parking area, which is also going to be the parent drop-off area. You can see that because we have these two schools co-located together, we have actually really a very large parking area that kind of is joined between both schools. And that really provides a lot of opportunity from a student or a parent stacking opportunity. And you can see the red arrows kind of indicate the very large amount of stacking that can kind of go through that parking lot for the parent drop-off at both early in the morning as well as late in the afternoon for student pickup. And that parent drop-off being right there at that yellow dot where the main front door of the school is.
Stage pickups, different times.
And one of the key ingredients to keep in mind there is that the timing of the pickups for the middle school and the elementary school are different. So you won't have the middle school parents staging at the same time as the elementary school parents. So that's a very key ingredient to keep in mind with regard to that stacking. To the left-hand side of the new school is a 1.1 acre playfield area, which is a little bit more than the minimum standard that OCPS tries to have on all their schools, a minimum of 1 acre. So there's a little bit larger play area. You'll notice that it's kind of tapered off there on the northwestern side. That's because there's some topography. So while that is an open green area, there will be a pretty substantial grade or elevation transition there that doesn't really make that area conducive to being a level, good play field area. Going around the back, well, actually immediately adjacent to the playfield area, you'll see a little area there with kind of a gray color on it. Let me get my laser pointer on. This area right here is an outdoor covered play area that's right adjacent to that playfield area to provide good supervision, and also provides a covered area in case of inclement weather. There are bathrooms and a PE office out in that associated with that. In this area, you've got a couple of outdoor hard courts. You've got the youth and tot play areas, the play equipment areas. Right adjacent to that is the CEP. CEP stands for Central Energy Plant. That's the main heating and cooling equipment for the school. Those are right off of the service drive that comes from the north side. That service drive is fed off of this access road, which feeds into a shared bus loop for the middle school and the elementary school. The reason that is not colored on this site plan is that bus loop is actually being constructed as a part of the middle school, not really as a part of the elementary school project. But the elementary school will be using that bus loop for the bus drop-off, which will occur along this side of the campus. The blue dashed lines that you see on the site around the perimeter indicate the security fencing, so that the elementary school site will be secured. The front where the parent drop off and the parking is open, so there's good public access to the secure main entry point at the front of the school. But the remainder of the campus is secured so that the students, when they're on campus, are in a very, very secure overall environment from the site. And also separated from the middle school so that there's some separation between the grade levels, the older kids and the younger kids. The last element I'll point out on the site is this area here, which is planned for future expansion in this location on the site. So if the school does need some additional classroom space, there is that being planned into the overall plan of the campus. Down here in this corner, you can see some of the information about the parking, 146 parking spaces. That's the parking that's just in this area of the parking lot. That's not including the parking lot or the parking area for the middle school. Car stacking up to 255 cars, which is about 30% over 30%, which is quite a bit more than the minimum standard that OCPS tries to achieve. So a healthy amount of stacking. And then bus stacking, 15 buses minimum stacking in the bus loop and the access drive, in terms of having all of that kind of traffic, whether it's cars or buses, off of the neighborhood roads and stacking on the school site. So if we take a look at the overall building plan, unfortunately, we can't show you very detailed floor plans. That's for security purposes. In today's world, that's a key element that we have to try and maintain. But this sort of a block diagram, if you will, of the indicates kind of the overall layout of the school. Again, you've got that main front door with you see the highlighted red element here with a secure single entry point. And so the way that works is that during the school day, during drop off and pickup, the students can come in and out of the main entryways on the bus loop side or on the front door. But during the rest of the day, those doors are secured. And the only way to enter the school is to come through this single door into the reception area. You have to be buzzed into that area. And then before you can go into the rest of the school, you have to be buzzed out of that. So it creates a very, very secure environment so that the administration and staff of the school can really monitor and maintain and supervise who comes and goes from the school during the day. You've got the main admin area here that feeds off of that central entry point. You've got the media center. On the first floor, you've got academics and classrooms on this side, academics and classrooms on this side. And then in the core of the building, you've got the multi-purpose dining and the stage area right there in the center of the school. You've got some skills labs. You've got the music area that's right on the back of the stage that really is a good relationship for the stage area. And then on the back, you've got the art room. You've got the kitchen and serving, which feeds to the service area, which is on the north side, as we saw on the site plan. And then, of course, last but not least, that covered play area with the PE office and the restrooms for the outdoor covered play area. On the second floor is almost exclusively academic spaces, as you see indicated here. There's some teacher planning and some resource spaces that are on that, as well as some support spaces on the second floor as well. In terms of sustainability, OCPS has always been very committed to sustainability in all the projects that they do. I'm not going to read through all of the bullet points on this particular slide. These are just some of the high-level bullet points of some of the things that are incorporated into the design of this new school. It's designed to meet the Green Globe sustainability criteria. And look, OCPS has always been committed to this, particularly on items that are acting as being good stewards of taxpayers' money by having buildings that are very efficient to not only construct, but very efficient to operate as well, and use less energy and less water as much as possible. In terms of give you an idea of a reference point of this school, this new school is the latest in what is a very long line. I kind of joke that this slide is the slide that makes me feel very, very old. Because I remember doing Lawton Childs Elementary School all the way down there at the bottom right-hand corner over 20 years ago. But that's not to say that this new school is the same as every one of these on this list. It's the latest generation, and what that means is that it has the latest refinements and upgrades that OCPS is continually making to their projects. Some of those examples include the technology systems. These classrooms are going to have touchscreen TVs, audio enhancement systems, Wi-Fi connectivity throughout. Safety and security enhancements, of course, have certainly been upgraded. Unfortunately, there's a need to do that, but they do have the latest in security, card readers, cameras, very extensive security package. And so this is not just a repeat of an old design. This is a very updated, very refreshed use of a design that has the latest in everything that OCPS is doing incorporated into it. The red schools that you see highlighted there correspond to some of those existing schools that are in the surrounding neighborhood, if you recall from the surrounding context slide, just to kind of give you an idea of where those schools fall within this overall range and lineage, if you will, of schools. So the last slide we have here is just sort of an overview of the schedule. Here we are in you can see September 2020. We've got still got to make our way through the rest of the design, permitting, and bidding phases of the project, which right now we're targeting that being completed by July 2021 of next year, so right at the beginning of summer next year, at which point we're going to turn it over to Wellbro and the construction team. And they've got about an 11-month construction period with a targeted completion of June 2022, even though the slide says June 2021. That's a misprint. It should say June 2022. And so this school will be ready and open for business in August of 2022. Again, despite what the slide says, the slide is incorrect. It should say 2022. So at this point, we'd be happy to answer any questions any questions that anybody may have. And I'll put this last slide up again just to kind of remind everyone sort of how you go about putting those questions into the system, so we can try and address all of them that you have.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, Dave. Let me just share a couple bits of information. The next time we'll be meeting will likely be in the spring, when the design has been complete. And if you came on a little bit late and either wanted to see this entire presentation, you can find it at facilities.ocps.net, or you can go to ocps.net, choose school board, go to Pam Gould's page, and it's there also. I did also want to introduce 2 other people who've come onto the call who are with OCPS. Adam Zubritsky is here with transportation. And Rory Salenbean is here, and he's the Senior Facilities Executive Director. So we'll just leave this slide up in case anyone wants to put in any questions.
So,
Pam, are there any
Lauren-
questions? Yeah, that you can think of?
There's actually something I'd like to ask Dave. Dave, how big is the PE pavilion?
The PE pavilion is 2,400 square feet. So if you think about that, that's about the same as a lot of single family homes in terms of size.
Can you put that footprint back up for me?
I can. Let me
Thank you.
figure out my technology here.
Okay, so that includes the office though. And
No, actually the 2,400 square feet is the covered play area. The PE office and the restrooms are in addition to that.
okay, all right, great. And what's the size of a classroom usually?
The classrooms are all right about 800 square feet.
Okay. All right. I still would like to see that bigger, but I know that's maybe as we get more money, haha.
Well, one thing that's pretty new is the fans out in the covered play area. So that's a nice new feature out there.
Yes, that is terrific.
If anyone has
This will
questions,
be the quietest my community has ever been.
yep. And
So-
Pam, before we got started, I was just saying that I wonder if people are just kind of used to it at this point because we built so many schools out there. I don't know.
I don't know. There's a lot of new people. Well, I want to reiterate that certainly you can access the presentation on any of those locations. If you think of a question after this, feel free to email it to me and or to Lauren, and we can get it answered for you. If a neighbor has a question, please go ahead and put them in contact with us as well. Because we want to make sure that everybody that needs to know about this school knows about it. The designs are similar to some of our other schools, so that's not new. I know there was questions about the location, egress, and access and egress from there, but I think we've solved all of that. The roads going in, the utilities have gone in, so that's the good news. Those were the big questions that I got outside of the school footprint, and I think all that's getting worked on and solved and put in a timely manner. So those are the things that kind of were covered in previous discussions about the school.
Okay, and we did get one question asking about when the discussion of zoning will occur, and that will start in spring of 2021 with community meetings. There will be a notification out to the affected schools through their Connect Orange system. But if you're not affiliated with any of the feeder schools, you can also track that on the OCPS webpage under student enrollment, new school zoning. And after the community meeting, the feedback will be taken to our student enrollment department, and they bring back a plan to the board for the board to vote on. Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions. Pam, did you want to make any closing remarks?
No, thank you, team. As always, you've done a wonderful job. Please share this to my community. Please share this with your neighbors and your friends and fellow parents, especially. We want to make sure everybody is aware of the school and can get out there and take a look at the PowerPoint presentation. So
And Pam,
you
I
can
will
share it
share
in your HOAs too. That's a good way to get it out there.
That's a great idea. And I did put your email and my email in the chat. And once the presentation is posted, which will be tomorrow, I will share the link with Whispering Oak, Keens Crossing, and Water Spring for them to share out to. I know that those 3 communities did get a Connect Orange message about this, and so we can get the posting out there too.
Great. Great. Yeah, I know that we'll be sharing it on my Facebook page too. So if you just type in Facebook Pam Gould number 4, I should pop up.
Gotcha. And Jay, I did just want to address, it is spring of 2021 that they are going to begin the zoning. Okay, well, thank you very much for everyone for coming. And we'll see you, I guess, in the spring. Oh, wait, I'm seeing something in the chat. Hang on. All right, nope, we covered everything. All right, thanks everyone for coming. Bye.